Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this occasion, I will tell you or share you about what is nitrogen pollution, what effects it has on the environment, and what solution uh, we can provide to it. First of all, what is nitrogen pollution? Nitrogen itself is considered as an inert gas. It makes up of 78% of Earth's air. Of most important is the nitrogen is a vital element for plant growth and existence of various organisms on Earth. But when in excess in the natural environment, it becomes a bad thing, and this is basically what leads to nitrogen pollution. In other words, nitrogen pollution refers to the damages caused to the environment, wildlife, and people's health as a result of excess nitrogen and nitrogen compounds such as nitrous oxide, nitrogen oxide, and ammonia in the natural environment. Similar to carbon awareness, damage caused by nitrogen pollution are just as important. However, nitrogen poses a larger threat 300 times that of a carbon dioxide. And people need to be more aware of the nitrogen footprint. To elucidate more on this topic of nitrogen pollution, I will share to you what is the harmful impact of it. The first is it intensifies the greenhouse effect. Solar energy released to the Earth's surface penetrates the atmosphere, and normally, it eventually rises back into space. The presence of high quantity of gases in the atmosphere from greenhouses including nitrous oxides, however, limits the process of the sun's heat from bouncing back to space, and alternatively it gets absorbed by these gases, thus releasing solar heat back to the surface of the Earth. The outcome of this intensification is the greenhouse effect, or in other words, global warming. The second is groundwater pollution. In areas where farming is frequently practiced, high traces of nitrogen are present in underground water, caused by infiltration from the soil due to water runoffs. Underground water, in most cases, is used for domestic use, can end up being contaminated by nitrogen-based fertilizers. Reports from various parts of the world, especially within areas that are extensively used nitrogen-based fertilizers, have reported the high concentration of nitrogen content in drinking waters and even in animal protein that feeds on pastures around such areas. When consumed, it can cause major health risks such as organ damage and failure, and even certain types of cancers. Now, how do we solve this nitrogen pollution issue? The first is we can reduce the excess use of synthetic fertilizer. Using phosphorus-free fertilizers can attribute greatly to the The second is establish a beneficial buffer. Planting deep-rooted vegetation along with water bodies help create a buffer to prevent trash and unwanted nutrients flowing into water runoffs. This prevents the growth of algae as well as reducing water pollution by creating barriers that control infiltration. And the third is the use of safe herbicides. With various high nitrogen contents herbicides present in the market, the algae crisis cannot be easily controlled. As such, much safer herbicide with low nitrogen concentration need to be introduced and continuously used to address the situation. This energy should not be just end with the introduction of safe herbicides, but also the use of the correct quantity to help control algae growth, subsequently preventing the pollution and contamination of water for domestic, agricultural, and industrial use. That is all I can share to you today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.